Welcome to the Transformation Institute's podcast. This podcast will break down what real change is and how we think is instrumental to that change. In a society that often looks sideways at individuals telling us how to think, we will reveal and expose a barrage of thought manipulations and mind programming being imposed upon us unaware daily. Each week, we'll explore the awareness, strategies, tools, and mindsets needed to recognize, survive, and thrive amidst change. We'll feature insightful interviews and conversations with knowledgeable individuals and share inspiring stories of average people who have navigated their journeys of transformation and sharing their hard-won wisdom and practical advice. Whether you're seeking a shift in career, relationships, or personal well-being, this podcast is your guide to unlocking your full potential and embracing the exciting possibilities that lie ahead. Join us as we embark on this transformative journey together. Here's our host, Omari, Jahi.
All right. Peace of mind, family, and welcome to the Transformation Institute podcast for change. Welcome. We thank you all for being here this morning. My name is Omari Jahi. I am the host and the producer of this show, and we thank you for tuning in. So I want to introduce you to my co-host. We need you to put your spiritual hands together and welcome to this podcast, Miss Brenda Robinson. Put your hands together for her.
Hi, hello.
All right, Miss Brenda, what's up? All right, also put your not spiritual, but virtual hands together for Mr. William Birch. Put your hands together for him, y'all. Yes. All right. All right. Next, we have Miss Dominique Williams. Put your virtual hands together for her. Miss Dominique, welcome to the podcast. And last but not least, we have, you're welcome. You're welcome. We have Miss Vanessa Rogers. So please put your hands together.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. All right. Welcome. We thank you all for being here this morning, and we just ask that everybody be respectful. You know, some of our conversations get kind of heated. Ain't that right, Brenda? Brenda get the cussing and everything.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I mean, but it's okay. It's okay. You know, just okay, Brenda. We got it on video, Brenda. You cussing. But anyway, that's okay.
It wasn't me.
Last week we were talking about domestic violence. We were talking about relationships and things of that nature. But we really kind of ended the show before we can get into the personal and family relationships. So that's going to be our first topic for today. We're going to be discussing personal and family relationships. So as always, I have a little video I want to show you guys. And then after the video, we're going to have a little conversation about the video, and you let me know what y'all think. Ooh, excuse me. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm going ahead of myself. I have something I want to read for you guys about personal relationships. That's what we're going to talk. Yeah, I got my little paper here. And it says, personal relationships are close, intimate, and interdependent connections between people that are based on emotional bonds and transactions. Now that's emotional bonds and transactions. That sounds like a business. They can be with family, friends, co-workers, or a significant other. Now, let's see, where's my little slide? Let's put this slide up. There was a song out that said, "Friends, how many of us have them?" It was a long time ago, but the thing is that, well, I just let y'all know where I'm coming from. There used to be a thing where you could have friends, but now friends seems to have turned into associates. I'm saying that because there used to be, well, just like this is, it's a bond that you have with this individual. You know, it's almost like family, but it's not. It said the personal relationship definition can vary depending on the context, but personal relationships are always based on the connection that holds together your life. Co-workers bond via mutual experiences. You know, I've had a lot of friends that I met on the job, and that doesn't necessarily mean that friendship lasts for a very long time, simply because we were just friends for that moment. But then there are those that, like, I have a friend from high school that I've been friends with ever since high school. We don't talk to each other every day, but when we do talk, it's just like it was yesterday. So what do you all think about friends and the relationship between people and that we call friends? And do we really have friends today? Or is it like what I said, we kind of like our acquaintances? You know, what you think, Miss Brenda? I know you. I know you.
Yeah, let me say this. First, I
Real.
thought I have that we're talking about William Birch, who is on here, is a good friend of mine that's been my friend for many years, and we met on the job. So you know, you talked about that, friends on the job, and we met on the job. And how many years it's been, Will? He's like my little brother. He's just not a friend anymore. He's like family. You know, I don't see him as a friend. You know, he got a mom, but you know.
Now, what qualified that for your relationship to extend past year after year after year after year?
We just started talking on the job. He was a little shy at the time, and you know me, I'm not shy. I just talk, and I guess I won him over, and he just been hanging out with us ever since. I mean, we talk about everything. You know, we hang out. He come to family functions. You know, he came in, and it got to be a heart thing too. You got to care for them. I don't know. We began to care. I care about him, like, you know, I mean, really,
like with a family member.
I do a family member, and I'm gonna hurry up and be brief so everybody else can talk. But I actually have friends from kindergarten. We on a chat every day. My friends from kindergarten, and then I have a chat with coworkers, old coworkers, and it's been years. So I don't know. That's who I am. You know, I meet you like Vanessa. You know, I met her through somebody. We hang out sometimes. And what is your name again, niece?
Dominique.
Dominique.
Yes.
See, Dominique.
Yes, ma'am.
Dominique got that face like she could be my friend too. So I don't know. I look at people. I mean, if there's some people there's some people who I met on the job and I talk with them and I don't talk with them anymore. But if I see them, I can still be cordial. But yeah, you'll know it when you'll feel something happens. I don't know. I'm one of them people though. I don't meet strangers. So I'm gonna quit with that. I don't meet strangers.
Will?
I think that we have friends for support systems and advisory systems, right? Mm-hmm. To piggyback on what Ms. Brenda was just talking about, our relationship is really is unique, right? Because like we did meet on a job. I started up my first professional job when I was 19 years old. I met Brenda. She was harassing me as I was pulling the milk cart. I believe it. And it's funny how this worked out because Brenda said something about sometimes you gotta have a heart, right? Well, we actually have six degrees of separation, really, because what Brenda didn't mention is, you know, me growing up, you know, I grew up unbeknowingly next to her nephew, who is currently one of my best friends since we were like 7 or 8 years old. And he lived right next door to my grandmother, and he would leave every summer. and we would sit on the porch and we'd be mad, like, you know, where they taking Chris, you know? And all along it was Brenda picking Chris up, and I didn't know that.
Now, is that ironic or what?
That is. Damo, what you got to say, babe? What you think about friends? I be seeing you on Facebook. You be going off on some folks.
Well, yeah, I do, because I really don't have friends. I'm gonna say this. I've started out. I feel like the one friend that I do have, we've been friends since about high school, and our friendship has we both have evolved. You know, we're not the same people as we were at the beginning of our friendship, and I feel like friendship is basically some people make friends and some people trauma bond. You know what I'm saying? Like some people build a bond off of certain things, and that's where you determine what's a friend and what you just, you know, clinging to based off where you at in life at that time. And I feel like it's a lot of people that I thought were friends, but that's just at the point that I was in life. And once I went to the next stage, a lot of people fell off. So once you meet a real friend, you know, somebody that you can involve with, and as you grow, they're still there, you still there. It don't matter. Y'all don't got to talk every day, but it's still the same every time you talk. That's a friend, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. You know, that when you said trauma bond, that stuck with me. I really saw that, because a lot of people do link up based on trauma and trauma that they both can share one with another.
Having
Vanessa?
common, yeah,
have in common correctly. Yeah. You know, Vanessa, what you got to say about all this?
Dominique, that was great. I mean, that trauma bond, that's some real stuff right there. Now for friendships, I think for the friendships that actually withstand the test of time, it's because you find your tribe, you find your people. You all are so similar where it makes sense. As long as you're on the same page and you move with the same intentions, and what you want from your friend wants from you, then you're fine. Miss Brenda, she met me by meeting me through people. I actually love Brenda to death. I did meet her through Bam and Omari. So, and just as Omari started the segment, we met at the job, and our little group became like a family. We're going like 24, 25 years strong. So at this point, I see them as family. If I say Bam, everyone knows who Bam is. If I say Omari, they know who I'm talking about. You know, if I say my little crew from the west side, they know who I'm talking about. You know, I love them. I love them like they're my family. We're friends. But, you know, I think, was it you, Brenda, that talked about the heart? So your friends get in your heart and they stay there. My oldest friend, well, she's not my oldest friend, but my best friend is from 3rd grade. And again, she's one of my best friends because along the way you do pick up people, and everyone fits into a certain category. You know, you have friends for this, friends for that. But at the end of the day, you all bond and you all share something in common.
That is so true. And the fact that we met the job, and you know, matter of fact, we met before I met Bam. So me and Vanessa was kind of friends, or we were co-workers. I put it like that.
Okay.
We were co-workers, and then we both met Bam around the same time, you know, and so we've been very good friends for like you said, Vanessa, a very, very long time. Very long time.
Now you know you're starting a war again, but okay.
That kind of brings up another dynamic to the situation that, you know, kind of causes a lot of confusion in life, and it's the question about, can males and females be friends? Because what we just discovered right here is that we got two sets of friends that developed at a job and it's still going right now.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's proof for itself that it works. It can.
It's a big argument though when it comes to
it is.
It's a big argument with that though, and we just heard a genuine connection with male and female friends.
Yeah. So this may help somebody who's freaking out when their significant other, the other relationship, is upset because the lady has male friends or the male has female friends. Yeah.
Well, I guess we don't have that problem with Bam, do we, Vanessa?
There's a lot of relationships out there that do have it though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That might help someone. Yes. This might help somebody to see this. Might help someone. Yeah.
Well, we got a new relationship, y'all. A new relationship in the White House. This dude here.
What'd you say?
We got the unbiased opinions here.
What did he say?
That nigga Trump.
Did you say that?
Come on, Brenda.
You gotta get impeached. You gotta get impeached, man.
I'm just saying. He's the new president, y'all. And he blew what's her name? Kamala. He just blew her out the water. I think it says what? He had 61% of the vote and she had 66. Oh
yeah,
wow,
she
that's
had 31.
Not a good number. But anyway, she had 31% of the vote. So, but
that's objective.
Check out this video. That's all I got to say. Check this out.
The president-elect, former President Donald Trump, has begun his transition back to the White House.
And one of his first steps, well, it's starting the process of selecting cabinet members. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has more.
President-elect Donald Trump wasting no time setting up his staff for his next White House term, and his first move is a historic one.
Susie likes to stay sort of in the back.
Political strategist Susie Wiles is stepping out from her behind-the-scenes role as President-elect Donald Trump's longtime advisor and successful campaign manager. Now tapped to become the first female White House chief of staff when he returns to the Oval Office early next year.
She has no ego. She is an amazing woman. She is a perfect combination of talent.
Yeah, whatever. As y'all can tell, I do not care about politics. I swear to God, I don't. I mean, I do care, but I don't. I didn't care which one of them won. Because it didn't matter to me. This is my personal opinion. It didn't matter to me whichever one of them won. We were still effed up. I'm speaking about black people now. We were still effed up. But to be honest with you, I prefer Donald Trump than Kamala Harris. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I know what I'm getting with him. With Kamala, you don't know what you get because they say one thing and then they do another. Trump said a lot of stuff, but you can best believe he's going to do exactly what he said he's going to do, or he's going to try to do what he said he's going to do. Now, some of y'all might disagree with me. I don't know. But I'm just letting you know, I prefer to deal with a person that keep it 100. Ain't that how the young people say it? They keep it 100 with you.
Yeah.
I don't like you. I'm going to screw you over. You know I don't like you. So deal with it. In contrast to a person that says, "Oh, I love everybody," and stab you in the back the first chance they get. I'm just saying. So we don't have to stay on this subject long because I know you all may not have, some of y'all got jobs. See, I don't have that kind of job. If they saw this on the internet and they all of a sudden you get a little pink slip, I ain't got to worry about that. So if you worried about your job, don't say nothing. Just smile like Brenda over here and just laugh.
I ain't got no job. I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss.
That's a beautiful thing.
I ain't never scared.
You ain't never scared.
Ain't never
So
scared.
who did you vote for? I know who you voted for.
I'm not telling you who I voted for, but I'm not telling you I voted for just cause, just to stick a nail in this thing, But I thought that I was going to be kind of upset the next day. I thought I was going to have a lot to say the next day after the election, and I did not. I didn't even feel because you got to know that I didn't want Trump in, and I didn't vote for Kamala just because she was a black lady either. I didn't do that either.
You just told us who you voted for. You know that, right?
I know. I said that. I said that. Yeah. But anyway, but I did not feel anything the next day. Like I thought I had a peace that I did not understand. I realized that really no president has ever, to me, done anything specifically for me. You know what I'm saying? I deal with the politics in the world, just like I deal with everything. You deal with it. You either deal with it or you don't. That's how I feel. So then I thought about it. I'm not going to stress myself. I have other things going on in my life. So I'm not going to stress myself about who's the president of the United States. I can say I actually voted for Obama just because he was black. I didn't know much about anything else. He was black, and I wanted a black man in. But this time, like, hey, whatever we get, I'm talking to the Lord Jesus. For those, y'all, if y'all don't believe, I don't care. I'm talking to the Lord Jesus. He's comforting my heart. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm 64. I'm getting there. I don't care what they do. All right, that's it. That's all.
Hey, Vanessa, what do you think about it? I know you have an opinion. Take yourself off mute, man.
I have an opinion. So for me, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon about voting because someone is black or voting because someone is female. My issue is Trump shows us who he is constantly, over and over and over. We've known this from day one. So, as you said, we know who he is. We believe him. As far as women's rights, black rights, Latino rights, just our rights, period, our civil rights, knowing that their agenda is to push us back. I am almost 52. Civil rights, we had just won fights with civil rights. Never have I had to deal with what my mother or father dealt with about civil rights and just being the person who they can be not based on their skin colors. Knowing that we're about to actually suffer on the civil rights spectrum, all this book, you said we could cuss, right? Bullshit isn't bad, but all the bullshit surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion. Well, as soon as we get something for us that we fought for because we weren't given a level playing field, they find a way to take it back some kind of way. So now we can go to school. We get all this education, but we had to fight for that. We had to fight for everything we have been given. And they work twice as hard to take it back. It's not, now it's full gear. Everything that we have, women's rights. Let's talk about the women who have lost their lives in childbirth because doctors are afraid to perform certain procedures because it could mimic them trying to abort a baby as opposed to saving a woman's life or that child in the woman's life. So knowing that we have lost at least 2 Black women at a time when Black mortality rates for infants is high, no. You both said something, and I don't know if it's because we're older, but for me, I have to think about these rights may affect my child, my child's child, and generations to come. Knowing that a generation or 2 ahead of us will have to go through what generations behind us went through is bullshit. I shouldn't have to fight to be on the same playing field as someone else just because they're one color and I'm one color. So this whole thing is bigger than Democrat versus Republican. It's a lot about racism, classism, all the isms, and that's all I got to say about it.
Okay. Will, you got a thought?
I got an unpopular opinion, so
I know you do.
I'm gonna keep it short. And I'm not gonna say who I voted for, but I will say that I voted for the person that I felt like that would address issues head on and make a decision, not this whole pushing the can down the street until next year, until somebody else deal with it. I don't deal with personalities. I deal with people. We all got personalities, and a lot of our personalities aren't very favorable. People don't like us, and for whatever reason. So we always gonna find the fault in a particular person. So I don't deal with personalities, but I do deal with the person who gonna go ahead and wear the jacket of making a decision to move the country forward.
Okay. Yama, what you think? You like your uncle? You don't give a damn?
Are you trying to put that in her head? Or
I'm really not a I don't get into politics, but
kind of person. Yes.
I did. I'm really not into politics, but I did vote for Kamala, not because she's Black, not because she's a woman, but it's the things Trump has said out his mouth. Like you said, we know it's true. We know what we're dealing with. He say he's gonna do something. He's gonna push to do it. He's trying to take out the Department of Education. Like, it's the stuff that he wants to do that will affect my kids. I'll say that. Kamala, it wasn't that I was a big fan of her either, because like you said, it was really like a mask with her. Like I didn't know what she was on. But from what Trump did say he was planning to do, I'm like, no. So I wasn't. But again, I'm not really a political person.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not either.
I agree also. I agree with you.
But I do see an opportunity. This is what I want to say, and then we'll move on to the next subject. If somebody hired you as a lawyer, let's say you're a lawyer, and somebody hired you as a lawyer, and at some point they decide that I'm going to fire you because I don't really need you anymore. You have now the opportunity to either create your own firm, or then you can just keep wallowing in the sadness or the anger of, I can't believe they fired me. I did all this for them, and I did that, and I did this, and I was loyal, and I was that. See, this is how I see Trump. Trump, to me, this is just me, it's the best thing for Black people, because he gonna make you do for yourself.
Absolutely.
He's gonna force you. You don't like his educational system? He wanna mess up the educational system? Then Black people, create your own educational system. He's gonna force you. You see what I'm saying? And this is why I'm saying that it's an opportunity. But the challenge that we have, and and this is the problem we've been having for centuries, I have to say, for years, is that we don't have leadership. There's nobody to spearhead what we want. You know, and so hopefully a leader will come out of this. Trump will create a leader for us. That's usually how it happens. You know, Jesus Christ came along because of how the Romans was treating people. You know, I don't know, but I know for a fact that he's going to be better for us than Kamala would have been, because all she would have did was constantly keep putting a Band-Aid on her axe wound. And that's what they've been doing forever, making us believe that everything is okay when everything is really effed up. Trump ain't gonna make you believe everything is okay. He's gonna tell you it's effed up, and this is how I'm gonna fix it. He's gonna get rid of the immigrants. You know, some people don't like that. I'm for it. They need to go back to where they were. You know, they wouldn't, I bet you, where they come from, they wouldn't let you over there in groves, in busloads and everything to build their communities and start living in their parks and on their. They wouldn't do that. But we think it's okay. That's well, maybe I shouldn't say we. Some of y'all think that's okay. You know, but I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Okay,
you know,
can I say something?
Most definitely.
Okay, what you just said, I just heard that on Sunday afternoon. I heard someone talk about that. And you do have to come like look at these things from a different perspective. Like Vanessa said, we hear what he says. Like I can't stand the fact that he had all these felonies and all that stuff, and I think about, you know, all this personal stuff that a black man in America with these many felonies wouldn't even been on the ballot, all that kind of stuff. You know, we could think about that. But it's like you said, I mean, and see, a lot of people have to hear this stuff, you know, like this, the Transformation Institute. You got to, you know, you got to hear some stuff sometimes to transform it. If in our communities we never hear this, people tend to stay the same way. But I heard a young man say on Sunday, he said, I applaud Trump's that motto that he says, making America great again. Guess what? He said, we pray that Jesus mess around and make Trump make America great again, like for us, you know, like you said, giving us that fight, make our own stuff, do our own stuff. We have to listen and want more, and let that be a challenge for us to make America great again. Okay, that's all. That's all.
Can I piggyback on that for a second, just to point one thing out? We hear about a lot of complaints across the United States about the education system, about how schools are not educating our kids the right way. The kids aren't learning this. The kids are being exposed to this and that. Why are we fighting the fact that somebody giving us the rights to take education back so we can own it and educate our own kids? We talk about our kids don't know Black History Month. We talk about our kids don't know nothing about government affairs and starting businesses, check accounts. Why we can't take that over and teach our own kids?
Right.
Why are we fighting against that?
Because we don't see it that way. You know, that's what I just said. It's like, you know, we've been programmed to see things a certain way. That's what I'm saying. Somebody got to come in and say that. My big beef is, you know, and y'all know, I'm gonna say this, and y'all know I'm not at you. I guess because I want a black man to lead some things, and I be saying, where are the men that stand up and say, no more, we ain't doing this no more? And I'm sure there's somebody out there doing that, but I can tell you my experience. I don't see anybody like in my community. You know, I haven't gone to anything or heard of any young men going to a thing where they come back and they talk like this, like, you know, the education system. Why?
You know why?
Why? Tell me why.
We see more now than ever.
You say what?
We see more now than ever in our face. Everybody that's being labeled a leader going to jail. Anybody that's taking
or getting killed.
Going to jail, or they're getting wrapped up in media with some kind of scandal. No one, it's like gang leadership. Nobody don't want to be in the game because they know you're going to get the RICO case. No one wants to be labeled the leader. Now, people are out there doing work, but they're moving in silence. They're working in silos. It's a lot of people out here doing work that people don't know about. That doesn't mean that because you don't see a black man standing up. We know, we've learned, our generation X at least, have learned how to sit down, take a back seat, and still get our job, get our mission accomplished. You know what I'm saying?
But what if we don't know it in our communities?
You don't have to know it. As long as you feel the impact of what we're doing is what we care about. I don't want the credit. I've always been the type of person is.
I say the credit.
Listen, what I'm saying is I write legislation. You guys know that. I've never went out looking for credit for writing legislation because the legislation I write is for all black people in the state of Illinois. So I don't care who takes the credit. I just want the whatever we're writing or whatever we're putting in place to impact our people in the right way. So that's the mindset of a lot of these young black leaders out here. We're not looking to stand up and be the Jesse Jacksons or the Dr. Kings. We're just looking to get stuff done.
And I can agree with that.
Things, but as Brenda said, maybe we just don't see them. We don't know that because they aren't out in the forefront, but they do exist. But maybe because everything that's going on, we do need someone to stand out and be that voice for everyone, because there's a disconnect within our community. So we have a lot of repair work to do as a black community that politics and everything else won't fix. We have to fix it first. You know how sometimes you have to come on in the house and do the work? That's what we have to do first. Until we can get together and stand in unison, it's always going to be a problem. We have to start thinking again. People nowadays don't like to think. Critical thinking and reasoning is almost extinct. And that's why they get us. That's why I feel like I can't say we were ambushed with a lot of stuff over the last maybe 2 decades, because they told us what they were going to do, but we didn't listen. People blew it off, didn't believe it. The first time Trump ran, oh, he's not going to win. Ha, ha, ha. And guess what? He won. Sometimes people show us things and we have to decide if we're going to accept them and work on it. That's where it's all going to start.
You know, it's just like slavery. I mean, this is how I see it. You know, during the slave times, we were treated so badly that we had to come together. We were forced to come together to support one another, to help one another. You know, and I believe Trump and his cronies and everything that they are trying to do is going to force that for us. You know, Jamo.
It should. Or it should.
Yeah.
It should force us to. It should.
It should. I believe it will.
Well,
Jamo,
I pray.
baby. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Finish it.
I said I pray that it will. I agree with you. It should. It's like I said. I mean, I hear Will talking, and I know that he does things, you know, behind the scene. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, you know, sometimes we and maybe one day we'll see it. And I just agree so much, because I keep on feeling like I'm retired, and I keep feeling like I am not doing something, like I'm missing something. I keep wanting to do something more, and I like that we're talking about the stuff behind the scenes, because you're right. But I mean, I'm always talking to my grandkids, and I got 2 great grandkids, and I'm talking to them about things that, you know, I want them to know, because these little kids now are so smart, and they know it's something in them, man. They know stuff. You can talk to these kids almost like my 4-year-old grandson. I could talk to him like an adult almost. I mean, he asked me things like with my face round up. What's wrong with you, mama? You got something? You thinking about something? Come on, what 4-year-old used to ask that? You know what I'm saying? So these kids are right for us. You know, so, and I'm like this. I get upset when I'm talking to people who are steady on minute things, talking about the neighbors or talking about the people down the street. Y'all, we got so much other stuff that we could be doing, you know? Okay, I quit. I could get real passionate.
Come on, Damo. What's your thoughts on the subject? Could you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like once we reach a point where we have no choice but to make our own, we have no choice but to create our own foundation, and you know that's what it's just gonna have to be.
Yeah,
you have no other choice. So I feel like when you have no other choice, then you just have no other choice. Like if you got somebody, you know, guiding your feet and dragging you along, then you know you found with staying in line, and that's an option. Then you know we could stay in that cycle forever. But when it comes to the end of the road where you have nothing else to fall back on, you have no choice but to, you know, create your own.
Yes.
Amen.
That goes to when we was kids, when it was time for us to, when you reached a certain age and you knew you was too grown to be in the house with your parents, and they would tell you it's time for the bird to fly the nest, right? And we didn't know how to fly, but when we got out there, we had to figure it out. It's the same thing we're in right now.
Yes, that is so true.
I just wanted to add something since we're talking about this. So we keep saying it's time for us to do this, it's time for us to do that. Well, the problem is it's time for us to do it again, because we have done a lot of that. And like I said, we're being pushed backwards. So to go 2 steps forward to get knocked back once, get up and do it again, get knocked back. Our Black colleges and universities were created for us so we could get the education that we needed. Now it's so many other things, like the whole civil rights fight. Everything that we've been fighting for the last 100 years coming into fruition, only to be snatched from under us. So now we have to fight again. At some point, we're Americans. Regardless of color, we're from the US of A. So we're as American as anybody else. And when I hear things about how America was built, it was built on the blood of my ancestors. Let's get that shit straight. That's what it was built on. Half the inventions came from people that look like this. So to steal and kill and then try to play in our face all day, as the kids say, is ridiculous. I should not have to fight a fight that my grandparents fought, and now my kids are gonna fight that same fight all because I'm Black. So once we get it, we have to keep staying on top of things so they can't keep coming back. Because if we keep up at this point, if we don't end up in some form of slavery again, our kids 200 years from now are going to be fighting for the same stuff. You know, right now, we haven't even talked about it, but a lot of white people get on the cameras. They aren't afraid to tell you it's about their numbers dwindling down. That's a whole different subject there.
I mean, most definitely. I mean, like you say, Brenda, we can talk on this stuff forever, but we gonna see. It's gonna present itself, and we're gonna see what kind of people we really are.
Yeah, because
we're resilient. Black people are resilient, and that's why they hate us.
But based on what was just said, if we taking 2 steps forward to getting, we taking 2 steps forward to getting knocked back a step, then we gotta start questioning ourselves.
Right.
Because if all 5 of us on this call take 2 steps forward, can't nobody move us unless we want to be.
Unless we accept being moved.
Right.
And we choose to go back.
Right. I mean, we got to be vigilant about doing something. We can't keep talking about it. We just can't keep talking about it. I mean, we
gotta humble ourselves, because that's the thing too. Based on what Brenda said earlier about leadership, that's the biggest divide. Because when we start talking about leaders, then we're talking about egos. Because if I say, and I'm just using an example, if I say, Ty, you gonna lead me, at some point I'm gonna raise up and I'm gonna grow up and look and say, what am I following Ty for? I need to be the leader. That's why we got so many churches in the Black community. Because everybody wants to be a leader.
Yeah, but again, it's got to come down to not just having leadership, but having a plan. See, we have to plan for what we want to do. I'll put it like that. We have to plan for it, and then we have to implement that plan, and that takes organization, planning, strategy. It takes all of those things, which we are not together, but that's all right. Trump gonna bring us together. We are not organized. That's okay. Trump gonna make us organized. You see what I'm saying? He gonna make it because he's not allowing us to be a part of what white people call their corporations, their businesses. So this is why I want to speak of roles, because see, these roles of men and women in family households, that's where government begins. It begins at home. Now I want to show this video real quick, dealing with, or it's kind of discussing some things dealing with about men and women roles in households.
Headship and submission did not originate with the fall. I've preached a sermon on that in this church from Genesis 2 and 3, and I've decided not to include that in this series. If you want to see it, you can go get it. I'm just going to assume it. Headship and submission did not originate with the fall. What the fall did, the sin of Adam and Eve, was corrupt it and ruin it and turned it into something very ugly and very horrible in 2 different directions for both men and women. What it did for headship was to destroy the humble, loving headship into either hostile domination and abuse, or lazy indifference with a can of beer and a bag of chips till 10 o'clock, and then he asks for sex. Thank you for your help with the dishes and the house and the kids. And you want sex? So you can either be an abusive abuser of headship, or you can be a lazy neglecter of headship. I thought when I came to the pastorate 27 years ago, this would be my main problem. I would be dealing with women who are coming to me about abusive husbands. Well, there are those, more than we know, probably. That has not proved to be the main problem, just because of our Christian culture. The main problem is women with broken hearts that their husbands don't lead, don't take any initiative. What it did to submission was also one of 2 things. It took willing and happy and creative and articulate and intelligent submission, and turned it either into a manipulative groveling or obsequiousness, or you drop the handkerchief. Oh, can you pick that up? I can't bend down. Because that silly caricature of femininity. Or the brazen, stark, uppity, nobody's opening the door for me kind of rejection of headship.
All right, y'all. He said a mouthful. Now, based on what he's saying that, well, I know there was a word in there that I know most women don't like. He said submissive. I know that was burning a whole bunch of people's ears, because a lot of times you hear that women are supposed to be submissive to their husbands, right? But then what he was saying is that women aren't submissive anymore because men aren't what they're supposed to be. Men are either brazen, aggressive, angry, combative with their wives, and or they're either trifling, lazy bums who don't want to do nothing but just sit back and, like you say, drink a can of beer, eat some chips, and watch TV all day. So why should a woman submit to a man that's one of them? And then what is it that a man gets if you got a woman that uses femininity as a manipulative tool to get men to sniff up behind them and pamper them, and let me hold your chair for you, let me open the door for you, and this and that and another. This is what society says men are supposed to do, but then you have women that says, I don't want you to do none of that for me. What has this society gotten to? I think we spoke on this last week where I was saying, I think I said something to the fact that a man don't want to do nothing for a woman because she's too independent. What can we do? Will Trump fix this too? Will he push us back together as men and women? Or will we just continue to fall apart, like they say, as fools? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think if we're going with the theme of fixing our stuff, because Trump is going to try to, allegedly, like enslave us again. Let's use that word. I think that if we all start thinking about doing our own, then if there are because there are men who are doing what their jobs to do, or what quote unquote their jobs to do, and there are women submissing. Is that a word? Submissing to them. Yeah. That's happening. Submissive. Submissive. There are some submissive wives and men who are handling their business at home. There are those. We do see a lot of men who are not working, not taking care of the home, and that's happening too. All this is happening and has been happening forever. But if, like we said earlier, that we're pushed to look for better things, I think, that would be included in, not that Trump is helping us do it, but because of Trump, I think that would be included on some level. Originally men were expected to work and do all of that. And, all those roles have changed so much, some people call
for good or bad. They change, but is it a good change?
A lot of it has changed it's according to how the people feel. There's women who their friends talk about them being so submissive to a man who ain't doing anything, and those women seem to love that. So to that woman, that ain't bad for her. She'll tell her friend, hey, that's my man, I love him. and she's going to do whatever. So it's according to what you feel and what you will take, because by me being single all my life, when I'm dating, I get this now in my older years. I get this. You're too independent. My thing is, I've been by myself, independent all my life. You know what I'm saying? So why am I too independent? I mean, I don't have anybody taking care of my stuff. What am I supposed to do? I don't understand that. So sometimes those characteristics are pushed on you. Those names you call names that you don't even fit into. I mean, what seriously? What do I do? Who do I submit to?
Well, I got another video to show based on this conversation. Real quick. So just check this video out real quick and we'll come back.
And provider roles are an ideal in marriage. This is controversial because our society today says there's no gender roles. There shouldn't be gender roles. Gender roles are a construct. And yeah, in that language, the idea of a gender role, I think, is a very modern concept. I would prefer to just say, if you're a mother, you have a certain responsibility. If you're a father, you have a certain responsibility. So I think that's a little better than saying if you're a woman, then you have a certain role to play. Well, it has to do with more specificity about your being a woman. If you are a mother specifically, yes, you have a role to play. So that's where gender roles is a little wonky because not all women are mothers, and it doesn't really get the specificity that I think this topic needs and deserves. So in a marriage where you have children, nurture provider roles are very valuable. What do I mean by that? Nurture and provide. Both parents do both. Fathers should nurture their kids. Mothers should provide. But specifically for mothers of young children, the mother being available for that child and being there to nurture that child and being free to do that and not have to leave to go work outside the home is an ideal.
All right, so Dominique, you're a mother, you have children. Do you feel you have a role to play with your children?
I do feel like I have.
And do they fathers have a role? And do they father have a role in their rearing?
Yeah, I feel like we all have our roles, but I feel like we have our roles, but at the same, I feel like we're in a time where people should do what works for them instead of trying to follow this blueprint, because the blueprint, I feel like, doesn't work for everybody. We living in different times, so like I just feel like she said, the women should, as a mother, should be able to stay home and nurture the children instead of having to work. Okay, in a perfect world, but in this world we living in now, my kids have to eat, and I'm sorry, but I can't wait. I'm not gonna wait for this man or that man or whatever man to put food on the table, because when my kids need it now, I'm gonna go get it now. Kids need it now, I'm gonna go get it now. Regardless of what the roles are, regardless if I should be submissive, regardless, it's pretty much you want something done, you got to do it yourself kind of thing, in my opinion. I feel like, you just have to do what works. So
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else? Okay, all right. No, nobody has a thought on this, huh? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all what I think. The Black family. We kind of touched on this last week as well. So for those that are watching this, please put your comments in the comments section so that we can bring them up on the live feed. But if we have been divided, and speaking of the husband and the wife, because if we've been divided to the point to where the roles in the family has to be, how can I say, done totally. A woman has to do both roles. She has to be the breadwinner and the nurturer. Or like we were saying last week when we were talking about single family households, if there's a man that's raising the children, now he has to be the nurturer and the breadwinner. That equation does not produce the best. I'll put it like, I use that term, the best product. It produces a product, but it's not the best. Now, Dominique just said something that was really interesting. She said that that doesn't work for everybody. And I get that. It doesn't work for everybody. But it's like this. And I think we said this last week. If you was baking a cake and there are certain ingredients that has to go in the cake, some people might, I'm not a baker, so I don't know what goes into making a cake, but I think flour, eggs, some y'all know what.
Some butter.
Some butter, whatever. But what if somebody say, well, I don't like butter. So they take butter out of the recipe. Are you really going to get the cake that you were trying to create, or are you going to get something else? You're getting something different. And so I guess my point here is that as long as we keep allowing other people to change the equation or change the formula by which family is set up, then every generation we're producing something different. Now, some people might say, well, that's good. We're supposed to produce different. But is it a good difference? This is my point. If we look at our generations, I'm a baby boomer, right? Some of you are baby boomers. Then you got X and whatever, millennials, whatever the rest of those things are, and I don't know what they are. But every generation, you can still see the genius. I think somebody on here said, our children are, in fact, it was you, Brenda, our children are brilliant. Masterminds even. But the thing is that we're damaged brilliant people simply because we don't have all the proper ingredients to make us what we were supposed to be. If you ain't got a father in the house, if you ain't got a mother in the house, the children aren't going to come out whole. They're going to be more feminine. And I say this about men today that was raised by their mothers, and I'm going to get off my soapbox. Men that are raised by women, and then there are a lot of women in the household, that man comes out with feminine characteristics. That doesn't make him homosexual. I'm saying that we mimic what we see. So if there's a little boy in the household and he's around a bunch of women and women switch, then when he grows up, you'll see him switching. Not because he's homosexual or gay or anything. It's because that's how he was raised. You all heard it before. If you raise a cat with a bunch of puppies, a little kitten with a bunch of puppies, that cat will grow up with the characteristics of a dog. It'll be acting like a dog. It'll bury bones. It'll be doing the same thing dogs do because it was raised up around dogs. So we can argue this all day long, but this is just my opinion. Go ahead, Brenda. I see your finger, and I know you guys, Nestle.
I'm just gonna throw this in there. Scripture. When your mother and father forsake you, I will take you up. Sometimes when those homes are broken, and you're right a little, you on the right track. If you don't have the right ingredients, it may not come out exactly like it should have or was intended, but there are great products that have come out of something that was messed up, that got messed up. something didn't go right, and then there's some things, and it changed the dynamics of what it was supposed to be, but it came out sometimes better. So I believe that's my opinion. There's some I have some scars. I mean, I said this last week. I was in a double family home. My mama and daddy were married, and they had me while they were married, and I was in their home, and I came out with some scars, but I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like this. You can have a mama and a daddy in the home, and you can come out with some scars. You can have only a mother and come out looking spanking brand new. Now they might have some little issues, but they doing things. They're surviving. They're making it through. But that's all I'm gonna say about that right there. I'm gonna leave that right there because I was in a 2-family home and I came out with some stuff. So I'm gonna let that go right there. Leave it right there.
Yeah, you can have a male and a female in a household, but that doesn't make them a father and a mother. You said also last week that you asked your father, and you up next, Nestle. You asked your father.
Okay.
Yeah, why couldn't you just be my daddy? Why couldn't you just be a father to me, hold my hand and things of that nature, right? Like a daddy does his children or whatever. And his response to you was, I don't know how.
Right.
He didn't know how to be a daddy. How many of those are out here? Or what about a woman don't know how to be a mama?
Mother. Right. That's what I'm saying. There's going to be all kinds of scenarios, but something good can come out of those scenarios is what I'm saying. Everybody don't have to come out. They could come out with a limp, but they're successful, but they got a limp. You know what I'm saying? They could come out of there blind, but they're creative and they're doing some things. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Nestle?
There's a psychology about everything in life. For some situations where it's maybe a 2-parent household, maybe one parent is bad, the other parent is okay, or maybe both parents actually suck at the parent game. 2 negatives equals a positive. Sometimes it's all about adaptation. So sometimes you're going to adapt to your environment. You're going to decide, I want to do this. I want to be better than the people I saw, or I only saw this, so I can't be any better. It's all about you and what you're going to do eventually. For some households, there are many households where men were raised by women and they didn't come out with feminine ways or feminine thoughts, because some women, and this is one of those things where it's controversial, men tend to think that women can't teach a man how to be a man. But if there was a man in that woman's life, she saw how a man moves, she saw how a woman moves, so she can tell her son, hey son, that's not how you move. The best thing is if there was a man present, that's the best of everything for everyone, best of both worlds. We should have a nuclear family where there's a mom and pop present, but like Brenda said, it doesn't always work. So it's about you adapting to your environment. And sometimes it becomes a mental thing in our community because we see so much. We've been through so much, the whole trauma issue, so we become who we grow up to become based on what we really want to do. Because there are people who had dope fiend parents from the 80s. They won't touch drugs because they saw what it did. But you got some who came from religious families, never did drugs, and they go out and do all the drugs. So it's based on you at the end of the day. But we just have to do better as a community. And we have to raise each other's children, our children, like we used to at the end of the day.
So, yep, it goes back to the formula.
So
we got to believe in the formula. Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I wasn't going to say that earlier, but Vanessa did touch on something that I didn't grow up with a father, right? I didn't meet my father until I was 47. But I did grow up in a household with my grandmother and her daughters, and I was the oldest grandchild out of all the grandkids. So I was that boy. I was my grandmother's first son, pretty much. That's how I was raised. In the dynamics in my raising that I grew up thinking until I probably was in like high school or looking at, not thinking, but looking at. I know I didn't have a father, but I had structure like a father, right? My mom was my mom, but my grandma was almost like a man because she treated me like my dad. You know.
Yes, sir.
So to Vanessa's point, it depends on the dynamic of the situation. And listen, I ain't got no family. I ain't started switching. I love women, like, and I was raised, and I love women, and I appreciate women, and I understand them more in life as an adult man because I grew up with my aunties and seeing them in relationships and things of that sort. So I can pretty much understand different things that women would do in my relationships.
All right.
Well, guys, we're kind of out of time now, so we're gonna have to close down. But before we get out of here, I want to get everyone's closing thoughts. You know, give us a couple of minutes on kind of rounding up everything that we talked about today, and share with our listeners, you know, what your closing thoughts are. So we're gonna go backwards. We're gonna start with Vanessa, then Dominique, Will, what's her name? Oh, Brenda.
Yeah.
Brenda, and then I'll go last.
Well, my closing tonight, I just hope people that we can get our stuff together and we can start thinking the way we used to and embracing each other the way we used to. And once we start coming together the way we once did, we can get back on track. There's no stopping Black people. And that's what all the fear is really about at the end of the day. We are a great people. We come from great people, slaves or whatever. Not everyone has a slave story, but hey, they trying to take our history away from us too, because they know what they're dealing with. If there's something so special about you, sometimes you will have people in opposition of you. And we've dealt with it for hundreds of years, and we'll probably be dealing with it hundreds more. But at the end of the day, I just want us to get our house in order. And we can't keep worrying about other people's homes. We have to get our house in order.
Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Damo?
Yes. Was it Vanessa?
Yes.
Vanessa, like Vanessa said, I feel like the change always starts within. You always have to work inside out. So, before we even start to see anything begin to change on the outside, we have to go within and work it inside out. And I feel like that's the best route to go moving forward.
Fantastic. Right. Will, your closing thoughts?
Well, I think that the number one thing that we need to do as a community is first identify our real identity, what we want to be identified as, and then chart that path based on that identity to help, build and improve our community ourselves instead of waiting on somebody else to come save us.
All right, Brenda.
Oh, I get a turn. Okay. I agree with Will. In our community, in our homes, like this show is about, our thinking, renewing our minds to something. We know we've been in a fight for years. We're gonna keep fighting the same fight. We got to really stop and think that. What I see in our communities is us at each other. I see that in our families. We didn't get deep in the family thing today, the personal family relationships. But in our families, we've had some hurts and some downfalls and some stuff that keep us right there. I think that we have to really look at this thing like you all said. Everybody kind of came together with this election is going to show us or make us do some stuff. I think we need to really talk about that. I think this show, if we really get it together here and get this stuff out here without it being, I mean, it's personal to us, but if we get it out here, and then someone else, we're not the best, we're not the only ones. There's somebody else. We hold the hand of someone else. We help somebody else, and we watch God change things. That's it.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I don't have much to say, but
What?
I do believe. Come on, Brenda. But I do believe that, again, as I said earlier, we have an opportunity. Whether we take advantage of the opportunity or not, it's on us. As you said, Brenda, it's how we think. If we can't change how we think, and if we can't understand that the way that seems right, that way is not right. It's not. If we look at the effect, I'll use that word. If we look at the effect of how we think right now, and we look at the effect of how we were thinking back in the 60s and the 70s, we were more together then.
Seems like
because, you know how many people it was that was a part of the civil rights movement? It was hundreds of people. And these people had jobs. When they decided to boycott the bus back in the day, do you know there was still some black people that rode the bus? It wasn't that many though. But today, if we said today that we gonna boycott CTA, we'd be the only one boycotting. Because we just don't get formulas.
Right. I agree.
We don't get that if you keep taking away things that you're going to get something different. We don't get that. There's so much that I want to say.
So I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny. Women have mastered that. To take something away to get what they want. I'm just
that's a whole nother conversation. But
okay.
You can't keep, and I think we said this last week, and I'm gonna shut up. Every generation, we take something away. My generation didn't like the fact that our parents gave us whippings. So when I have children, I ain't whipping my children. Oh, we lost somebody.
Vanessa.
I'm not whipping my kids.
Will messed up.
The next generation decided they didn't like the fact that their parents did this. So when I have children, I'm not going to do that. So things get taken away. Every generation, things get taken away. But we think we still gonna get good things coming out of it.
Right.
This is all I'm saying. We have to go back to discover the formula for success. What that formula is that we have to discover, we have to, as a race of people, implement it. If we teach our children this because Trump took away the educational system, then we have an avenue now to be able to teach our young people the formula for success.
Right.
We can do that. You see what I'm saying? But until that happens, we just stuck in where we are.
We can actually even teach real economics and entrepreneurship to our young people and rebuild to things like Black Wall Street and things of that sort off the back of young people.
Right.
With our knowledge and our know-how from working in corporate America and sharing that with these young people, we could be building a whole different generation.
Yes.
Most definitely.
I feel that from this. I mean, I hadn't thought about none of that until this evening. I'm just gonna say this one thing. This song came to my mind. Teddy Pendergrass, "Wake Up Everybody, Time to Teach a New Way." Maybe then they'll listen to what we have to say. Back then they had songs that really spoke to us.
Yes.
And now we abandoned those, but look, this stuff is gonna come back and it's gonna help us. I think it can help heal us, because that right there, "Wake Up," that whole song was for us. And Marvin Gaye's "Make You Want to Holler, Throw Up Both Your Hands." What was that?
Most definitely. All right. You guys, thank you for being here. Thank you, Dominique, Will, Brenda. Thank you all for being on the show. Hey, make sure you guys make comments in the comment section so we can understand what you think about these topics and these subject matters that we've been covering. And we'll see you again next Saturday at 11 o'clock. So until then, peace of mind.
Peace.
Keep your peace of mind, because that's the thing that's going to pull us through.
Right.
God bless. See y'all later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for supporting our podcast. We look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Until then, strive for a peaceful mind. Your activity will reflect that peace.